So here's a more complex model. I went ahead and stuck with an ellipse and then just laid it out in the form of a snake. So you can see here, these are my ellipses. And then I went ahead and using ULoft, turned these shapes into this snake. Now, the reason I did that was so that I could see, before I did it a second time, I just copied these, what my end result looks like. It might help me make some decisions about where I've placed these before I do it again. You can modify this, obviously, right? I can click on this and make modifications. For an example, let's see if I can come in over here. Oh, it's not letting me zoom in. There we go. Let's select the curve. So I've selected this curve. Oops. And I'm going to come over here and relocate it and watch what happens. It makes that change. So I may realize that I want to make some changes to my original curves before I join them together. And by copying this and doing it once, making modifications and making adjustments to the second one's bound to be better than the first. But for the sake of this video, I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing that because I have a limit of 15 minutes and then YouTube won't upload my video anymore. But you can see how making adjustments, selected this, whoops, making adjustments to the final surface itself is allowable. Now, something really interesting happened here. When I created this, I went through and I was clicking and it made my snake inside out. And the way to resolve that is to come to your Modify tab, pull down your modifier list, and select the normal modifier. Check Flip Normals, and what it will do is turn it right side out. Because without that modifier, you see the snake's inside out. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go through, I'm going to make this bigger so you guys can see, because here's one of the places where you can work inside perspective. You're not actually locating anything, so it's okay to do that, and it helps me see as I go. I'm going to zoom in a little further. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I created these as splines, and I selected all of them, right-clicked, and converted them to NURBS. So they are now NURBS curves. Right? So I'm going to start with the very end one, and I'm going to use remember I'm going to stay on NURBS surface, and I'm going to use ULoft to connect them. And always select the first one again, and then go through and select, and you see how it's making it inside out? When it's black like that, it's inside out. Okay, and then that's all I'm doing. I'm just going through and selecting them in order. And it's joining them into my snake. Okay, I'm going to stop there because you can see I've already completed it over here for the sake of time, and show you a couple things that will make your life easier. So another thing I want to be able to do here is I'm going to select this curve, and I'm going to come back to, let's see, it's not letting me cap it in here. So I'm just going to go back to the main one, create surfaces, and cap it. You see where it says cap right here? Oops, I got to select it again, I guess. Thought I had it selected. Alright, why are you not letting me do it? Let me do it on the other one. Get out of this whole thing. Try it again. Okay, and I just pick cap, and it closes it off. So that way you don't end up with a hole at the end of your object if you don't want one. Now, there is a hole at the end of his mouth. I'm going to select off of this. Whoops, I meant to select off by selecting it again, but there we go. Okay. Zoom out. And I've got a hole there at the end of his mouth, but I want that one because I want to be able to put his tongue in there. Now, for his eyes, I would add eyelids and eyeballs and a tongue and then a rattle at the end. Just create all that, model all that. And for the eyelids, okay, so now that say he's done, say I'm happy, I think he's done, I want to then convert him to an editable poly. And so that I can use my attach to attach my eyelids. Now, you want to link, I think maybe you can see it up here now. Use your select and link. I want to link his eyeballs, his tongue, and I'm not sure about his rattle. I have to decide if I want to move that independently, which y'all haven't covered rigging yet. So it's really hard for you to know which way to go until you learn rigging, which we'll cover in the fall. But for his rattle, that could be, depending on how it's going to animate, that could be attached as a rattle, or it could be linked. To be safe, you can link it, and then you can always attach it later. So if you're in doubt, you're not sure whether to link or attach, start with link, select the object, select the select and link tool, and then using the rubber band, attach it to the editable poly. Because I'm going to want the tongue to move independently of the snake, the eyes to rotate independently, and I'm not sure about the tail. I'm going to link that independently, and then later I can always attach it if I need to. We're going to use, just want to go ahead and let you know now, we're going to use these characters that you're modeling now next semester. So think about that when you're creating them. Go ahead and attaching things and linking things, because we're not going to do any modeling in the rigging class, which is 2415. We're not going to have time. It's only an 8-week class, and we're going to focus purely on taking models that you've already created and getting them to move. Okay? Let me know if you have any questions.